When learning about Latin American history, we tend to start with the painful encuentro or encounter, a moment that's mostly talked about from the European point of view. Because to continue thinking of our identity as just a simple binary of half Spanish meets half Indian reinforces a version of our history that's not so accurate. The word was first used in 1275 in medieval Spanish, aka Old Castilian. It referred to people of mixed bloods and was derived from late Latin, mixticius, from Latin mixtus, past participle of miscere, to mix.
Ah, hijo. The historiography of Latin American mestizaje, that is, the history of how history became official, is long and complex, but extremely important when trying to grasp how the events of 500 years ago led to the way our world is organized today. The way we see the so-called discovery of the Americas is different from the way people saw it when it was happening, and that's different from the way it was imagined during the colonial period, and you get it. So, because primary sources are limited, our understanding of what happened is also limited. Consider the history behind this fool's writings, Christopher Columbus.
The reason his voyages are so mythologized is because of how we got to hear his side of the story in the first place. His original journal was lost 10 years after his first voyage, so all we have today is nothing more than a transcription of an abstract of a copy of a lost original.
A mess.
A lot of copying errors, misinterpretations, omissions, and outright lies rest between us and the truth. I mean, what else would the Catholic monarchs do?
Right?
To speed things up, officials developed a casta system, a categorization method for their populations based on religion. The system differentiated between old Christians, Jews, Muslims, recent converts, and renegades. You'll never expect what they established in order to enforce the system. The Inquisition.
Wait, no.
Stems from Christopher Columbus and his affinity for medieval travel journals.
For European audiences, the newly known lands were portrayed as hostile, strange, and otherworldly. Cultural historian B.W. Ife continues, for all of Columbus's careful attention to scientific detail in the realization of the voyage, his writings have more in common with travelers' tales than with a ship's log. What Columbus describes is not so much what he saw, as the sense of wonder with which he saw it. In other words, the visualizing of the Americas as an unknown and dangerous land was, from day one, a medieval fantasy that justified European intervention. Like this, a visual culture emerged, imagining the exotic nature of places like the Caribbean, Mexico, Brazil, and Peru.
The diversity of cultures present in the Americas was an obstacle for the Castilians' colonizing mission. In order to justify taking over land controlled by so many different societies, it was necessary to group all peoples of the Americas under a single label. Like this, all the different societies were relabeled as Indios or Indians, and they came to be seen as the savage others who stood in the way of European progress.
Dun dun dun.
But, as we'll find out, the identity of Indians or Indios had more to do with Europeans' expectations and anxieties of themselves than with the people they met.
So stay tuned to see how this history of mestizaje unveils through our Unsettling Journeys.